Hey y'all! So, welcome. It's been 7 months, almost a full 7 months since the last episode. And you will notice that somebody is missing. Sally is not here. Actually, I guess she would be on this side. We took a break and I knit like mad and I have so much to show. And Sally, as so many of us had happened during COVID, her priorities have changed. And so she's taking a mostly permanent break from the podcast. And but if she ever feels like coming back, she is always welcome. I would love to have her back. Okay, so what's been going on the last 7 months? Highlights. I've traveled some. I've spent a lot of time with my mom. She's been here. I've been there. We've both gone everywhere with the kids. Most recently, we just got back from sailing on a schooner off the coast of Maine for a week with my aunt, and that was so amazing. So amazing. It's Windjammer cruises. There were 28 passengers, 6 crew. Everybody had to be either vaccinated or test negative, have a PCR negative test. So Cade had to have a negative test because he's not old enough to be vaccinated. So he had that Q-tip go all the way up his nose, and poor thing, it was hard to watch. It was really hard to watch. So that's the latest. I don't know. Just, I guess we'll get it. Oh, all the info where you can find us, or find me. Find me. I gotta change that. The intro is the same for now because I literally just decided to do this on Tuesday or Wednesday. I realized I had the day free, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. Just gonna do it. Well, what do I have to lose, right? I do this for fun. So let's see, I just decided. There is a Facebook page, Sal and Al the Wool Slayers, or Wool Slayers Podcast. I should know that. I'm sure I'll put it down there during editing. Instagram is Wool Slayers Podcast. What else? We do have a Ravelry group. Sally used to handle all this. I don't remember. So the Ravelry group is Sal and Al the Wool Slayers, and it is not very active. Again, Sally was the one that did all the social media stuff. I'm doing good to record and edit. So we'll see how I keep up with this, because I actually had taken a break from social media for a couple of years now, and it's been really good. I don't miss it. I have much more time for the things that I really want to do. I just went on to Instagram now to post something, but realized I don't have a password to post. And I saw a couple of friends' pictures, and that was fun. But I'd much rather talk to my friends in person or on the phone, just one-to-one direct contact, or a small group. So that's kind of why I got off social media. Plus, I just needed to know not everybody's life is perfect. And on social media, everybody's life looks perfect. So because my life isn't perfect by far, and I think it messes with your head, or it messed with mine. I should say that it messed with my head. So I took a break, and I've been happy. But I do think I'll try to post on Wool Slayers, and because I do like talking about knitting and yarn and all the fibery goodness. So I have no idea about retreat or Camp Wool Slayers. I'm sure that'll come up. I have absolutely no idea. Definitely not 2021. I'll think about 2022. I have a background in event planning, so I feel comfortable doing that on my own. So we'll see. I'll keep y'all posted, of course. Okay, what comes next? I think we do sleighs. I will do sleighs first. Kind of the reverse order of how you end up with a project. Like normally you start with the raw materials, then it's a work in progress, and then it's the finished object. Well, I'm gonna go finished object first, which are sleighs, and then next I'll do whips, and then I'll do trophies, and then we be freebies, which I know everybody likes. So, okay, I've been knitting like crazy. I have a pile, and I just realized the top thing, I have no idea what the name of it is. So in the last episode, 7 months ago, I knit a sweater out of orange yarn, burnt orange yarn. Well, this time, different burnt orange yarn, I knit a vest. And I wish I remembered the name of it, but I don't remember. I'm sure it's down there now. I actually haven't worn it because it's still hot. I did do an extra repeat to make it a little longer because it's supposed to be kind of a crop. So I did an extra repeat to, I don't know, cover my tummy. I don't do crop. I mean, it's shorter than, it's a waist length sweater, or vest, but it is not a crop, and it would have been a crop if I hadn't put the extra repeat. So there is an extra repeat, and it was easy to do that. It's just an extra of this here. I got gauge. I'm very happy. It was super easy. It was pretty intuitive, and so I don't know. It was good. The yarn is, that's the problem with just throwing all your finished objects in a bag. Don't remember what the yarn is. It is VJ something. My mom got it on sale somewhere, and it was kind of a random, it was like 5 or 6 skeins of a random brand content. No idea. So, but it is wool. It might actually have some acrylic in it. I think it said silk, but it was in Indian. It was from India, sorry. And so I'm not sure if it really is silk. I think because it didn't really feel like silk. It might have a little bit of acrylic. So there is that vest. I should remember the name. Oh well. Okay, I remember the name of this one. This is the Void Shawl. And I have had this in my queue for years with this yarn. I've had this yarn for like 10 years. And it is, again, don't know. It's Naturale, and the color is cochineal. It's a natural dyed yarn, and it is an Aran weight single ply. It's very soft. I lost my focus in life too. So it's very soft. Let me see. And it has good stitch definition considering how, that it's a single ply. So this is one of those projects that I'm really, really glad I stuck with. It took about 4 repeats before I understood what was going on and didn't need the pattern. Could read my knitting and know what was traveling where. These are just, they're single cross cables. And I'm really glad I did it. It is, I haven't worn any of these because I finished them and it was not cold. So it'll be nice and warm and cozy and big, and I guess I could tie those, tuck them under and have it be a big squishy cozy cowl or shawl. But I I'm glad I persevered because I was ready to tear it out. I was ready to be, and not even tear it out. I was going to do like Sally and just throw it away because it was single ply and I knew it would be sticky to get out. But yeah, I'm glad I persevered because I really like it and it is lovely. It's soft and just like a big squishy hug. So that's the Void Shawl. There we go. It's weird not having Sally ooh and ah. So I'm just going to pretend that you guys are oohing and ahhing and like cheering me that I finished the shawl. It is Aran weight, so it took about 7 skeins. I did not use it all up. I wanted to, but I did not. It does have an I-cord bind off, which is really a nice, I mean, look at that. It just flows right in. The garter, it's so professionally, it's so polished. I love it. Okay, y'all, what's going on? I actually washed my hair today. I have curly hair, so I don't wash it every day. And it's always better on the second day. And curly hair people know. Okay, I was working on this shawl. It was one of my whips on the last episode, 7 months ago. The Hireth Shawl. I will not knit this shawl again. I like the finished product. So it starts down here, and it grows one stitch every 2 rows. So a right side and a wrong side grows at 1 stitch. So you do this texture. I'm not even sure what the texture is. You do that texture, then you do a little bit of, it's just like a kind of a ribbing. And then you do the stripes, which were fine. I was ready for the stripes when I got to them, but then like they kind of went on forever. And then this a little bit, and then you do this mesh lace, and you do a picot bind off. And every part of it is good, like, but each part went on for so long. I felt like the shawl was never ending. Never gonna finish it. So, but I did finish it, and this is so long, I swear. I can come around again and tie here if I wanted to. But it looks really good. I'm glad I did it. But I won't knit it again. It was too, I'm ready for this to be over the whole time. And that's not something I'm going to knit again. So, but it's the Hireth Shawl. And I do like, I forget who the designer is, but I do like a lot of her patterns. So, you know, I might knit something else of hers. It was very well written. And the yarns are a commercial yarn, not a hand dye, and it is Louis Gems in a brown color. This is actually a champagne color, and then the green. And I think the green is fern. What is the brown called? I don't remember what the brown is called. Green is fern, the cream color is champagne, and the brown. I don't know. It's brown. So I have so many shawls to add to my. Okay, now this project. I'll come back to that one. I do want to come back to that one. Okay, I think this one I had started on the last podcast. It is Rain Brioche Hat. And I used, so the gray is a merino silk. And then the pink, orange, yellow, and then this darker pink are Madeline Tosh DK Twist. DK Twist Light? DK Twist? Again, it was a while ago. And they are merino. They're superwash merino. And then the blue has a little bit of silk in it. That is from, I think, Mustache. So I've used these colors before on another project. This is what the top looks like. I love how brioche decreases do that. Like, it just looks so nice. I think it came out, like, it's very loose. It's very loose. Like, I'm going to attempt to put this on. Okay. Oh, there we go. Well, I don't know. Where's Sally? Okay. Oh, my hair's grown enough that it looks cute. So it's kind of slouchy. I guess it looks good. I don't have it on even, but whatever. It looks good. It's good. It's good. I don't know. Maybe I will wear it. My hair's gotten bigger and longer since I made it. So that makes a difference. But rain brioche hat. I love how the colors turned out, and the hat was super fun to make. I had a million ends to weave in because each one of these 4, I had a little ball and then a whole unicorn tail. And I decided I was going to use up the little ball first. So I had, 4 ends for each color. So there's a lot of ends. Okay. Y'all remember that big old ball of cotton? The basket that I tried to crochet and then took apart? Well, it's now this size. It's smaller because I crocheted the basket. So I crocheted the baskets and so I took it apart until I had like that amount. So I made this big one first. And I almost made it too big again. It's still a little floppy, but it's fine. It holds bigger things, but see how soft it is? So it doesn't stand up as well. So this is fine. I'm gonna put it down here for the moment. Then I just kept going. I did another circle, so that follows from the top of this. You can see the top of this one is very similar to the bottom of that one. So I just kept going. Started another circle. I think I either added yarn to it to make it thicker, or I used a smaller hook. I can't remember. But it does stand up. It stands up much better on its own. You can see where I started using a smaller hook because it has this kind of hourglass shape. But it turns out it fits this bucket perfectly. So I'm using this as a trash can. And they're kind of all together in the same place. So then this one goes with the bottom of this one. See how they're kind of matching? And I started another one, and this one's a little smaller. This one holds ping pong table gear. And then here, knowing that I was almost to the end, I added in a ball of yarn that was like faux shearling that I had purchased when Zane was a baby. It could have been before he was born. And I used it to make an aviator hat for him. It was so cute. And it had like furry lined ear flaps. But I had this ball left. So I did that on top just to kind of use it up. So I've got the 3 baskets and they kind of sit together. And they don't look exactly alike, but close enough. And now I have this. Am I going to throw it away? No, I'm not going to throw it away. It's mostly cotton. My mother knits washcloths, so she might take it. But it's all in, like it's all together still. So I'd have to kind of take some strands apart if she was going to use it. But I can't bring myself to throw it away. Maybe I'll knit washcloths. Maybe. I do love the washcloths that she makes me. I like small washcloths, like the size of a sponge, essentially. And that's what I use to scrub my dishes. And I love it because they're constantly getting washed, right? Like I use them, they get dirty, throw them in with the rags, and everything gets washed on sanitize. And I always have clean washcloths. I don't have smelly sponges or anything like that. And, you know, they're not disposable. They're not made of plastic. It's good for the environment, you know, all those things. Plus, I'm frugal and I don't like to buy things that have to be replaced. So, okay. Let's see. Have I gotten everything? No. Okay. So this is, I love this. I love this project. It turned out so wonderfully. I just love it. I made the Blurry Cowl from Interpretation 7. And I used stash yarn. This is Suburban Stitcher, Merino Decay, Predictability. Sally might be yelling at the screen right now. She knows all these. It could be, it'll be down there. I can't remember, see, it's been so long. But that's Predictability. I used it in my Roses That Grew from Concrete shawl. And then this is, I believe it's Hazel Knits. And I don't remember the colorway. Again, it'll be down there. Y'all, I'll do better next time because it won't have been 7 months. I'm hoping that I can podcast like every 2 weeks, maybe. I don't know, since I'm having to do all the knitting now. I don't have Sally to lean on when I can't get as much knitting done. So it will be every 2 weeks, once a month. I don't know. We'll see. But I love this. It turned out so nice. And I gave it to my mom. She kindly let me borrow it, keep it until I could podcast about it. I mean, you know, it's hot still, so she wasn't chomping to wear it. So it's just, I was so happy with how the colors turned out. It all turned out so wonderfully. She'll probably wear it to the side like that. She doesn't like things straight down. But it was fun. It was easy. Yeah. And I mean, look at that purple. Love it. I put it in an Easter egg for her. And she was like, what's this? I don't understand. She didn't believe me that I was giving it to her. It was cute. Okay. Now, on the last one. Okay. Sorry. On the last podcast, I had gotten some promotional yarn from Kramer Yarns, and I had made some slippers that needed to be felted. Well, I felted them. They turned out a little too small. I didn't even try to put my feet in them, but like they're the size of my hand. They won't even fit my boys. Their feet are now bigger than mine, so they'll fit somebody in the kingdom. Somebody in the kingdom will be able to wear these. They look, oh, and look at all the dog hair. All the white is dog hair. I hope it's somebody not allergic to dogs. So I did just put them in the washing machine with some other clothes. And I talked about how I was worried that with it being a front-loading machine and more difficult to interrupt the cycle, that it wouldn't felt right. Well, I let it felt too long. I got tired of checking. And that's what happens when you get tired of checking your felting. It doesn't feel right. Well, it felt right, but it goes more than you want. So I still had quite a bit of that yarn, and I didn't want to try to do felted anymore. I was over that. So I made what is called Getting Warmer, and it was a Be Freebie from last time. And I really, really like it. So this is the Kramer yarns, and it is so simple. It's from a Splashtraco. The pattern is a Splashtraco, and it's just so simple. Now I will say, I wish I had used a larger needle. Don't remember what size needle I used, but it is on my Ravelry page. Oh, and you can find me on Ravelry as Alan Loves Yarn. That's the other thing I forgot. So, so I wish this was more open. It's a pretty dense fabric, considering it's bulky yarn to begin with. So, also, this, oh, do I have an end I didn't cut off? So professional. Good thing I'm not getting paid for this. So, on the model, it comes down like this, and they look all warm and cozy, but it's a little small for me, and this is fine. This is fine. But if it had been, oh, and there's my seam, my jog. Nope, wrong way. If I had used a bigger needle, it might be bigger, it might be stretchier, not so dense. So again, this will fit somebody in the kingdom, but it's not me. I mean, I could wear it up here like that, but yeah, I would feel better at going to somebody else. What's going on here? I don't know. I can't tell. I gotta take it off. Oh, I think that's where I felted it. I did a spit splice, and I think that's where it was, but I mean, I really don't think anybody would notice while it's being worn. I really don't. But I do still love the yarn. I think the yarn was great, and it, I mean, look, it has great stitch definition on these. Also, I think I was running out of yarn, so I stopped early. Maybe I didn't make it as long as the pattern called for. Pretty sure that's the case, that I didn't make it as long. Okay. There's more. There's still more. And I might have even made some things that I gave away over this period. Who knows? Okay. I made, for spring break, we went skiing in New Mexico for the first time. And when I went to buy ski clothes, like goggles and stuff for the boys, the ski store recommended these little hats to go under helmets. Because now, like, I grew up not wearing a helmet when I skied, but now everybody wears helmets, which is great. Highly recommend it. I wore one. It did not, in fact, I liked it better than my experience growing up, where I wore an itchy hat that maybe I hated it because I was always scratching my forehead. Anyway, so they had these little skull caps that they recommended, because when you rent hats, like, you don't know, and it could be cold, and so I'm like, but I'm a knitter. Why would I buy that when I can make one? So literally, like 4 days before we were leaving, I'm like, I'm gonna whip these out. Actually, maybe it was a week before we were leaving. And I knew we were driving, so I knew we'd have time driving. And I was like, I can make these. I said, if I use really thin yarn, and she's like, oh, sure, that'll be fine. So we did. I made hats for the boys, and I was gonna make one for me, but then we got there, it wasn't that cold. So, oh, I know. I used my sockhead hat, I just folded the brim up and, pulled it down. But also it wasn't very cold, so I only used it the first day, and I was dying. I was so hot. So this is yarn from Blue Mule Fiber that I bought at McKinney Knittery, because this, of course, is for Cade, because I was looking for orange. And it was a sock set. So this was a full skein, and then this was a mini to do heels and toes. Well, I don't do socks. So I did the brim in the orange, and then the hat in this, I don't know, orange and brown and white in the variegated. And this hat is called the World's Easiest Hat. And it really is. It's the world's easiest hat. You do this 2x2 ribbing. Nope, sorry, 2x1 ribbing for the brim for 2 inches, inch and a half, and then you just knit. So then for Zane, who is the opposite of Cade and does not want anything bright, he wants everything black and gray and neutral. I went into my scraps because I knew I had plenty of that, and I did the exact same hat, but I did a fade. And so I started with whatever this color is. I think it's Dirty Panther from Madeline Tosh. And then I went into, this is from Julie Osselin, and I don't remember the color. And what I did was, when I got to the fade part, I started doing helical knitting. And I love it. Helical knitting, y'all, is so great. So great. I highly, highly recommend it. And there's a ton of YouTube videos for how to do helical knitting. So I did enough helical so that I had like 3 or 4 stripes, just to be able to fade it. So then I did the Julie Osselin and then fade to that. No idea and no idea. Could have been Wonderland Yarns, a gradient kit that I had gotten, but I really don't know. So, and I didn't use up all of any of these colors. And then the top is like that. Zane was so excited. He loved it. He wore it the whole time. Well, I take that back. It was hot, so he didn't wear it when we were skiing, but the rest of the time he wore it like when we were walking around. So 2 very successful hats. I'm really glad I did them, and they'll wear them this winter, maybe to school. Can they wear hats to school? I can't remember. I think they, I don't know. Maybe for soccer. Maybe for soccer. I don't know what they can wear to school. Okay, last one, and this one is special. This one is super, super special. Okay, so remember when Texas got hit by an ice storm? So we got hit on February 14th, Zane's birthday. The night before, he had 2 friends spend the night, and for his birthday, that was his party, and the only thing he ever asked for is snow. Well, he woke up to snow on his birthday. He was so excited. So, so excited. And I know it was terrible for so many people. We actually got so lucky. We had power the whole time, but I think the reason is because my house might be on a power grid with a hospital. Because otherwise it seemed totally random why we had power and there were other people in my neighborhood that didn't. So, but my mom was here, and she was only supposed to be here for the weekend. Well, she stayed for a week and a half because her house had a broken pipe in Houston. So her neighbor noticed it and turned the water off. So, and she couldn't get a plumber over. And I was like, just stay here. Stay here where you know you have water. Go home when you know you can get a plumber. So she stayed for another week and a half. And since she ran out of knitting, I let her dig through my stash and figure out what she wanted. She had just finished making a light hipster, and she really liked making the light hipster. So I let her dig through, and she made another one. Now, this yarn is yarn that was given to me. I wish you could feel it. It feels so good. I dropped the cart. Cindy O'Brien, Stitch Naughty. And this is Lavender Petals in the Temptress base, which is 435 yards for 100 grams. And it's 80-10-10 superwash merino cashmere nylon. It is so soft, so wonderful. My mother couldn't believe, she's like, I can't believe you're letting me have this yarn. I can't believe you're letting me have this yarn the whole time, because she loved knitting with it so much. And it turned out so great. I mean, this colorway will literally go with anything. Anything. So this is the lightweight hipster from Joji Locatelli, who I'm a fan of. And the yarn is from Stitch Naughty. And it feels so good. But look at this. I think this is a wonderful design. It takes one skein of fingering weight yarn. And it could take, because part of the skein is these little tassels on the bottom. Well, you could do the tassels in something else and make it a little bigger. But look, I mean, the yarn up close, it's purple and green on a cream background. But it just looks like it's just a great, subtle, mostly cream, or really closer to white, mostly white shawl. I think it will go with anything and everything. So I don't get to keep it. She's keeping it. But it's such a great little shawl. And the yarn, so soft. That cashmere in there is so, so soft. So wonderful. So that is the last of the trophies. I think. Is that it? That's it. My bag is empty. My bag is empty. Okay. Who needs a minute? I'm going to drink a little water. Oh, I will say one of the casualties of the freeze was my mom lost her Meyer lemon tree. So I still had some juice frozen from last summer's harvest, and I put some in my water every time I fill it up. And it's going to be sad when that's gone, because I love it. I love it. Okay. WIP Crackin. You ready for this? WIP Crackin. Okay. I got some whips going on. I got a bee in my bonnet one day and just cast on a ton of things. I just went to cast on and cast on and cast on. Okay. This is not one of those from that day, but this is a whip. This is, and I really had hoped to have this finished for the recording, because I really, really, really want to see how it's going to finish on top. But this is the Checkered Work Cat, which, well, this is the Checkered Work Cat, which there's a picture of what the Checkered Work Cat looks like, because this hat is not turning out the way the Checkered Work Cat normally does, because I used a yarn that is, it's Mustache Ready Player One, and it is larger sections of gray with a really thin section of each color. And so the way the pooling happened on the ribbing is that all the colors pooled right there. But then as I started doing the pattern of the hat, it swirled. Like it starts here and it swirls around. and it's so awesome. Like, it's totally not how I expected it to do. Like, I thought it would checker work, but I love it that it's swirling around. And so it was a mill end, which is, this one happened to be 44 grams. The pattern calls for 50 grams, but I'm like, you know, I can stretch it because, you know, I'm magic like that. So I, when I went to start the second ball, because it's perfectly matched skeins, it's 2 perfectly matched skeins is how Mustache does it. When I went to start the second ball, I had to pull some off to get to the same, to get to where the color repeat was from the first ball. So I had little pieces left because I didn't do it right the first time. Then I had to pull more off and or from the other end. I don't know. I didn't get it right. So I have this much left from the 44 grams. And I have about 8 more rounds to go. Now I'm decreasing. So maybe I can get there. If not, I'm pretty sure I have another mill end. Or I have a color, I have something, but it'll just be the little top of the hat. So, so next time I'll have this finished, but I just love how the swirling happens. I just love it. I'm so happy with it. It's such a happy accident. And I'm using my Chalgu shorties, interchangeable shorties. I think it's a 2. And I'm using the longer of the short tips because I do like to have a little bit more needle to work with. So that is the Checkered Work Cat. Okay. Next, I started something that had been in my queue for a very, very, very long time called the Flyweight Twist, and it is in one of the interpretations books. It's by Vera Valimaki, and it starts with just a gray garter, asymmetrical garter. And so I started down here, and I am there. I feel like I'm pretty close to where I will switch to the brioche, and it's super small. So I might go a little more with this. The risk of that is that I run out of yarn. But I just feel like I've hardly used any yarn. I mean, I have so much left, well over half. So I don't know, we'll see. It just is looking tiny, and I don't want it to be tiny because the way the construction is you do this garter section, and then based on the number of stitches you have there, then you start doing the brioche. And if I don't have very many, like if it's small in the garter section, then the brioche is going to be small too. So I think I need to make sure the garter section is big. I guess what I could do is if I start running out of gray in the brioche section, I could then just do orange brioche, because then there's a garter border out of the orange. And so I could either do straight, one color brioche instead of 2 color brioche before I get to the orange border. We'll see. I'll see what how I get there. But if you have any suggestions, I'm always open. I'm receptive. Okay. This one I've been working on a lot too. This is sweater. And I'm going to pull out the pattern so that I can say the name right. I bought this yarn. I showed the yarn a couple episodes ago because I bought it at the Sated Sheep. The pattern is called Marl On, and that's what the sweater looks like. And I bought the exact colors. Like, I am making this exact cardigan. So I am almost finished with the body. Oh, a mid-row. Of course a mid-row. Of course. But I think it'll be okay. So, because it's a cardigan, and I put the sleeves on hold, and then there. And what it is it's fingering weight yarn held double, and you're marling the whole thing. Like, I did not realize that even when I bought the yarn, I didn't realize this. And you can see how it's, you know, blue and gray together in this. It's very subtle in the white. It's like a cream and a light gray together. And then down here, this is the only place you use this light gray by itself. And then you use it here with the cream, with the dark, and here. And then you keep going. And now I'm to the part where I just keep going in this cream color. So I have the cream color left to do, and then the sleeves. And it feels like I'm finished. No, I'm not. Because I know the sleeves will take forever. Okay, so the yarn I'm using is Holst Garn. And I bought it at the Sated Sheep. I think they have every color at the Sated Sheep, and it comes in a lot of colors. The Sated Sheep is in Dripping Springs, Texas, and they do ship. And I highly recommend this yarn. So it's 55% lamb's wool, 45% cotton, and it's a 50-gram ball. Is it gonna? Oh, it did for a second. There we go. It's a 50-gram ball, and it's very thin, but what they said at the Sated Sheep is that it blooms because it still, when you block it, it blooms because it still has a lot of the machine oil on it. And I want to say it was like $4.50 a ball, maybe $5 a ball. And I feel like this is the best for our climate down here in Texas. This is a great fiber content. Sorry, it just, it's a great fiber content. Because it's the cotton and the wool. Now, yes, in the wintertime here in Dallas, I can wear wool sweaters. I keep my house at 68 degrees in the winter, so I can wear a sweater. But majority of the time, a cotton sweater is fine. So I think this might end up being, and it comes in like 20 different colors. It comes in a ton of colors. So this might end up being like a go-to yarn for a fingering weight sweater. The two held together, I feel like it comes more to a sport than to a DK. What would two held together do? It wouldn't be a DK. It's not thick enough to be a DK. It's definitely more of a sport. But again, I haven't washed it yet. So when I block it, it might really fill out more. So this is the same woman that wrote the shorty sock pattern that I do. And she includes so much information. It's great. It's great. But it is a 2, 4, 6, 8-page pattern for a cardigan. So I want to say it's a simple pattern because it is simple. However, the way she writes her patterns, because she gives so much information, sometimes it can be difficult to read the patterns because she gives you a chart for how to do this, but it's also written out. She gives you a chart for how to do this, but it's also written out. So sometimes, like, I found I had to write a lot of notes to be able to keep up and make sure I was doing the right thing at the right time. It wasn't just a written pattern that flows. I feel like Joji Locatelli's patterns are like that. They're written and you just flow through the pattern and it just goes on fine. So it's not a difficult pattern, but it can be difficult to read or keep track of. I don't want to discourage anybody from doing it because it is definitely doable, but just so you know. Just so you know. Okay. Oh, and I didn't show the bag that I was using for my little Checkered Work Cat. This is Nurse Kimber Knits. It's a sock bag, like an over-the-wrist sock bag. And I think she sells on Facebook, but she also, I think she's at West 7th Wool in Fort Worth. Pretty sure. Check her out on Facebook, though. Okay. This one I talked about on the last episode, which feels so weird to say because that was 7 months ago. So I talked about it in the last episode and showed the yarns I was going to make. This is the Overthrow Wrap from Interpretation 7 by Joji Locatelli. And I had two colorways I was going to do. I had one that was with white spines and one that was with dark purple spines. And I started on the one with white spines. And I like how it's turning out. So you hold I know, there's like ends everywhere, but you hold the mohair double, which is so luxurious. I mean, it's so thick and soft and just so luxurious. But you start out garter, then stockinette, and then I've got the brioche with the green, which at first I was like, I don't know, this is going to be muddy, it's going to be weird, but it looks really good. It does. It has turned out really nicely. And then my next color is this teal, and so it's this lime green with the teal. And I did make it on the lime green. I was a little worried, but I think I had a ball like that big. But I made it. So I have two more colors after that. I have this light blue that'll come after the teal, this aqua color. And I've used this before. And then after that comes the orange. So, and I mean, I have a lot to go. But it's been fun. The problem is with mohair, I have to look at it. It's not dark knitting. So my sweater has been my dark knitting. The hat, I'm at the decrease point, so it hasn't been dark knitting. This is not dark knitting. So the sweater's my only dark knitting. So I kind of alternate between the different dark knitting. Okay, I've got one more in here. Honestly, I can't even remember what this one is. What is this one? I don't know. I don't remember. Oh, it's the Hireth Shawl. Okay. And all these bags are by the Bay Bag Company. She's on Etsy, and she was at, we found her at DFW Fiberfest, but she came to Camp Wool Slayers. We love Wendy, but they're by the Bay Fiber Company. By the Bay Yarn Company. Sorry, I do that every time. And then I got them monogrammed. I have a great monogrammer here, and we play around. So this is my Solaris, and this is dark knitting also. I forgot about this. I was so excited working on my cardigan. So the original pattern has like a gray background with different color stripes, And I went with a variegated background and then the same color stripes for the short rows. So I really like it. I really, really, really like how the yarn is playing together with itself and with the pattern. I am at the last section. I think it's, I think it's the last pattern section. Somehow in here, in this section, I ended up with a lot more stitches on the needle than I was supposed to have, and I don't know how. I haven't figured that out. I'm just going with it because for some reason, yay, serendipity, I had, for this repeat, this navy row, I had the right number of stitches on for the number of repeats that I was able to get in. It wasn't the right number according to the pattern, but according to how many stitches I need for all these little bumps for those sections, it worked out. So I'm going with it. And I have plenty of yarn. I am on my, am I on my second ball of this? I must be on my second ball of this. Yes, that has to be my second ball. So I'm on my second ball of this. But if I run out, I'll just switch to the navy. I think it'll be fine. It's plenty big. It's good. I don't think I have another one upstairs. I don't know. Yeah, it has to be my second ball. But this doesn't feel like 1.5 balls. 1.5 skeins. I don't know. Maybe it is. It's got to be. It's got to be my second ball. Because I don't have the other skein in here. Unless I left it upstairs where my knitting stuff is. I don't know. I should pull it. I should figure out where I am on that. I should figure that out. Make that some dark knitting coming up. And that's it. That's it. There's some miscellaneous stuff in there that isn't worth talking about. Okay, so that brings us to trophies. Wow, we're at an hour already. And it's just me talking. Okay. And I got a lot of trophies. I'm not going to show them all. I have to save something for next time. I should have saved some sleighs for next time, just in case. I should have pretended I'd made these all through the year. Oh well, hindsight. Okay. So Modern Skein in Montgomery, Texas, they do a lot of indie dyers. And I think she sells a lot online because she's kind of in a not remote, but it's not a metropolis. And but my mother likes to go there when she's headed up here or to Navasota. So she's been there a lot. I feel like we've seen their yarn a lot. They had a sale that we saw on their newsletter that was 1 skeins, like anything she had 1 skein left of. So it was 30% off, and I have a hard time resisting a sale. Really hard time resisting a sale. So I bought some yarn. I bought a lot of yarn, y'all. I didn't realize it. Okay, we're just going to start. Here's the Trophy Parade. This is Less Traveled Yarn, which I have never heard of before. But this fluorescent pink color, it's in the Vice colorway. Outspoken collection, it's 75/25 sock, merino nylon sock. So this hot pink color I have had in my stash. I had a lace weight that I would hold double. And I used it in so many projects, so many projects. Well, I don't have it anymore because I've used it. And I was like, it just always seemed to be such a great punch. So I went ahead and got another skein. This is fingering weight. It's not. And my other one was Anzula Washer Lace. It's not the exact same, but it's this highlighter pink that is so bright that it's totally blowing out to white. because it is so bright. But she had one skein, and I'm like, I feel like it's one of those colors that does really well in my stash. So, that. Ching Fibers. This is Balala is the colorway. And I just said, I liked it. That's all I can say. I liked it. Do I need to say anything else? I think that qualifies. Okay. Pashmina by Madeline Tosh. Silver Fox. I have started, anytime I see a good gray or a navy, pretty much gray and navy, anytime I see those, I grab them, especially on sale, because again, it's something good to have in my stash. It kind of goes with everything. I can just, I can put together color palettes and have this be the neutral. So Pashmina is sport weight. It's 15% silk, 10% cashmere, and 75% merino wool. Whew, no wonder it feels good. Silk, cashmere, and wool. Okay. Okay, this is Ching Fibers again. Do you see a theme here with the hot pink? This is Lofty, which is an Aran. It's a BFL Aran, so it's 100% superwash BFL, and it's in the flamingo colorway. I debated about this one because with an Aran weight, with one skein, what am I going to do? I'm going to make a hat. I'm going to make another hat. Well, I'll make another hat. I like knitting. It's all knitting, y'all. Let's see. Okay. Another Ching Fibers. This is the merino fingering in oyster. And I just love all these colors. And then kind of a peachy pink. So happy with that. Okay, another gray. This is, I don't know this one. This is Matariki. Matariki. It is, ooh. So this is actually a mill dyed. It's not a hand dyed. That I was not familiar with. I just liked the color, and it is made, the colorway is West Coast Granite, and it is locally made in New Zealand, 85% organic Australian merino, and 15% possum. Yes, you heard me right, possum. So we have possums here, and I would not like to have their fur to knit with. No, I would not, because then I'll just think about their skinny little tails and teeth. No. But what my mother learned is that the possums in Australia and New Zealand are very different than the possums here. They're much cuddlier, cuter, not so gross. So I'm okay having a possum yarn. But again, this was a good gray. So I got that. Y'all, there's so much in here. Okay, then we have the mohair. Because I don't have enough already. Don't have enough. So these were all together. These three were listed together. They weren't listed together, but they were next to each other in the picture. And I really liked just how the picture, the four colors together. So it is Biches and Bouches La Petite Silk and Mohair. It's 25 grams, 230 yards, and it contains 30% silk and 70% kid mohair. So we got a light silver gray, we got a charcoal, a light blue, and a camel. I might use them together in something, I might not. I don't know. We'll see. But I liked all three of them together. So I bought all four. So I bought all four. Why not, right? Okay, so then we have a Ching Fibers, and this is a melted Melted Baby Surrey in the Elderwood colorway. And I've actually never, I haven't knit with the Melted Baby Surrey. It feels wonderful. It's very soft. And I know that from feeling some Sally bought. But I liked the colors and I wanted to knit. I wanted to try it out. But it is one skein and it's not a ton of yardage. It's 175 meters and 50 grams. But it's 65% baby alpaca, 20% merino, and 15% silk. I don't know. It'll probably be an accent in something. Oh, we'll see. Then this one I recognized immediately. It's from Sheen Fibers. It's the Shisui colorway. And I made the Shisui shrug out of fingering weight in this colorway. And so I wanted to have the mohair because I had an extra skein of the fingering weight. I wanted to have the mohair in the same colorway and do something where I hold them together. I think Sally made a hat that held together a matching fingering and mohair, and I really liked it. So we'll see what I do with it. But I want to do something with the fingering with this in the same colorway. So that's it, y'all. That is it for trophies. It's a lot. That's not even all of it. That's just the most recent. On the next episode, which really, you know, I don't like to buy online. This was online, and it worked out. It worked out, but I don't typically buy online. So really haven't bought that much over the past year and a half when all the fiber festivals have been closed. So I'll show on the next episode. Stay tuned. I'll show some hand spun that I bought. My mother facilitated the purchases. So I'll show that next time. I have We Be Freebies. We Be Freebies. Ready? We Be Freebies. I have on the last episode I showed the crazy yarn that is the mill ends, the mill leftovers. I forget what mill. It's in Michigan. And when they finish one of their solid color runs, they take whatever's left and they barber pull it with another color. And and they call it their crazy skeins. And I buy it at McKinney Knittery. And and I just haven't figured out what to knit with it. So I went into We Be Freebies and looked to see what might be good for doing it, for using that yarn, because I really want to use it. I did figure out, based on looking at projects that on Ravelry that had already been made out of the crazy yarn, I did figure out that I liked a mosaic or a Fair Isle project, some kind of color work, not just my preference. Because it does stripe. It essentially stripes. I didn't want to do something that was a plain stockinette or garter where it just was a stripe. There's a lot of projects out there that use it for that. I wanted it to be more color work. So that is the theme I was going for. Now it is a sport weight yarn, and so I did sport weight patterns and then looked for things that had color work or mosaic. So first is Sweater Ray. They use a mohair in the color work part, which I think is adorable. And I also think that those little flowers could be really cute in the stripes of the crazy yarn. Then Love Still Wins mittens. Oh, I love these. They're so cute with those hearts and the corrugated ribbing on the thumb and the wrist. And because the crazy yarn stripes, it would change colors. Now, it wouldn't change colors on every row. Pretty sure it wouldn't. It hopefully would change colors, but by the time you got to the end of the mitt, you just never know how long each color stripe's going to be. And each mitten would be different. So, but I like that. I am good with that. Next is a hat, the Eye of Partridge hat. And this came up when I searched for mosaic. I think, though I don't feel like it really is mosaic, but I think it uses slip stitch technique. So, and then it kind of, I don't know if it would really fade that way. I don't know, because I don't know the stitch as well. But it's the Eye of Partridge, which is a texture that people often use on sock heels because it adds a double thickness, and so it doesn't wear out as fast. So I think that could be interesting. Then Apothecary fingerless gloves. These are essentially striped gloves. So since this yarn stripes itself, that could be fun. So I know I said I didn't want it just stuck in a stripe, but I think that could be really fun, and each arm would be different. So so just something to play around with. Then the Floats cowl. They show this in just a solid creamy white, which is so the opposite of the crazy yarn. But I think because of the striping and having those floats, I think that could look really good. Then last thing is a baby blanket. So you would have to pair it with a solid color, but I could definitely see doing these little baubles in the crazy yarn, because I think for sure each stripe, well, for sure a color, the length of color would last for one stripe, sometimes 2 or 3, just depends on how they put the yarn together. But it would kind of stripe itself with all those baubles. So I think that would be really cute. Okay, y'all. Thank you for hanging in there with us. Hopefully there's still people subscribed and watching. I know Erin will. I know my mom will. Just enjoying this crazy ride we're on, and yeah, I did it. It's in the books. So until next time, don't forget to slay. Bye, y'all.